Psychological abuse is a silent epidemic. Perpetrators are often someone that is close to the victim, right? Someone that the victim loves, trusts, depends on. For example, parents, partners, relatives, teachers, close friends, someone like that. And psychological abuse is invisible because it doesn't always leave, black eyes or broken ribs or cuts and bruises, and sometimes it doesn't even have yelling. And very often you're dealing with victims who have experienced childhood trauma, so their self-esteem is impacted, so they are not able to recognize even when they are being abused. Now, on rare occasion, when they're trying to speak up about their situation, sometimes well-meaning families and friends will try to, in an effort to comfort the victims, will trivialize the suffering, and then as a result, they actually re-victimize the victim. Now, in our society, we have these cliche ideas about relationships, about family, about the role of different people in these dynamics, right? So we have these ideals like, for example, parents are always right, or women are always vulnerable, and mothers are always loving, or things like that. And so these ideals set up these unrealistic expectation about what relationship should look like and what healthy boundaries should look like. And then as a result, anyone that trying to speak up against these ideals are being silenced. And so it's very hard for victims to speak up, even when they do recognize that they are being abused. And yet the impact of psychological abuse is really severe. We're looking at a problem that is very widespread. It's impact population and demographics. And the consequences of psychological abuse are long-term and very severe. So we really, as a society, we need to change that conversation about psychological abuse. We need to find a way to remove the stigma, the silence, so that we can give the voices to the victims, so that we can empower them to liberate themselves. And we have to provide the support, the healing support that's needed for survivors, and also raising the public awareness as a whole. So as a result, I am submitting a proposal for a talk about this topic at South by Southwest, which is a very major event in Texas, in Austin, in 2024. Now, my talk is going to be titled Empowered Heroes, Ending Psychological Abuse. Now, my name is Dr. Petra Dieter, and I am the founder and CEO of Victim to Hero Institute, where we provide trauma-informed educations and solutions for victims of trauma and psychological abuse. I am a survivor of child abuse and domestic violence. So as a survivor, I am very passionate about empowering victims. Beyond my personal experience, I also have done extensive research into victim narratives. I have interviewed thousands of victims and done analysis on their experience, their lived trauma and experiences, and including empirical research and a lot of also field experience in advocating for and championing for system and social changes, both at the federal level and the states level, as well as internationally. That kind of experience gives me a very unique perspective in understanding the problem. I understand it viscerally. It's not just a simple intellectual problem. And I also have a unique perspective about the solution, how to empower victims, how to provide an empathetic and supportive healing environment for survivors, as well as I truly believe in the transformative power of collective action. So I'm asking you to support me by voting for my talk, so that my talk can come to South by Southwest, and so that we can embark on the transformative journey, where we're going to look at the insight into understanding psychological abuse. We're going to look at a comprehensive analysis and examination of victim narratives, empirical research data, so that we can understand this widespread problem that often marginalized by the society, by the stigma in our society. Yet a problem is very widespread that and impact a lot of people. We're going to illuminate the insidious and counterintuitive nature of psychological abuse. And what I want to provide is for the audience to be able to walk away with not just the insight and understanding of psychological abuse, but also actionable strategies and powerful tools to recognize the subtle signs, and also being able to provide solutions for victims and survivors. And as a whole, I want us to raise awareness into this problem. Now, the intended audience for my talk would be compassionate and empathetic individuals who are invested into understanding and addressing this social problem and finding a solution to fix this problem so that we can liberate the victims and help society as a whole. So those would be people who are personal growth and empowerment seekers, advocates for social impact, educators, community leaders, victims and survivors and their families. And the takeaways for the talk will be, like I said, you will gain the insight into understanding the widespread yet very marginalized problem of psychological abuse, and have actionable strategies and powerful tools in helping victims and survivors. So please help by voting for my talk on South by Southwest panel pickers, so that my talk can come to South by Southwest in 2024. Thank you so much for your support.